A second tradition in thinking about exchange rates is the metalist one. If you think of money as essentially gold or silver, then the issue is really the issue about what is the relationship in the price of one money with another just depends on how much gold or silver they have in them. Okay, so it's not really very complicated to begin with. So let's start with that. So here's the metalist tradition. Okay, if you think of the dollar is X ounces of gold, and the pound is Y ounces of gold, then what's your exchange rate? Your exchange rate is just X over Y. Okay, it just is it's the relation of the mint pars. Okay, these are the mint par. Okay, saying a dollar is this many ounces of gold, this many ounces of gold can be coined into a dollar. Okay, that's called the mint par. And there are different mint pars for different currencies, and therefore the exchange rate is really just how much gold there is in the currency. That's the point. Well, that's pretty easy and straightforward. And why would you expect this to be true? You would expect this to be true because if the exchange rate ever deviated from that, there should be some arbitrage, right? Where you take the heavy coin, okay, and you melt it down and you convert it into the light coin or something. So there should be arbitrage that's enforcing this, that the exchange rate between the two currencies is their mint par ratios. So you're starting to get into a finance point of view here when you're thinking about arbitrage. But when you start to think about that, you say, well, in order to actually do this arbitrage, that means you have to take gold from England, okay, and move it to the US. You got to ship this gold around, okay, and that's not costless to do, okay. So you're not necessarily going to have the exchange rate be exactly that. That's the sort of mint par ratio, okay. But if it costs something to implement this arbitrage, okay, then you're going to have, it's just going to be some fuzziness around the edges, okay. So that fuzziness is called the gold points. Okay, that the exchange rate can be a little higher than this without causing gold to move or arbitrageurs to enter in, because it's costly to move gold around. And it can be a little lower than this without causing arbitrageurs to move. But it can't be that far away. If it gets very far away, arbitrage will move. Okay. How do we now think? From this point of view, we're starting to move into territory that might seem a little more familiar to you. Remember forward interest parity? Forward interest parity here. I'm using E for exchange rate here, so let me use that. I didn't use it for exchange rate before. Forward interest parity says that the spot rate, the exchange rate, spot rate, is related to the forward exchange rate as the ratio of the interest rates in the two currencies, domestic and foreign. Okay? This is forward interest parity. And it holds even in the gold standard because of the gold points. Okay? The issue is that E, the spot rate, has to be greater than some number and less than another number. So there's a cap and there's a floor. This is meant to make you start to think about the trainer model, okay, where there's a sort of outside spread somewhere, and then there's going to be dealers inside who are doing this trading and determining the exchange rate. And that's where we're going to enter with the money view. Okay, because we can use some of this apparatus, this business that we've learned about payment systems and market makers and so forth, and use that apparatus to start thinking about the determination of the exchange rate.